Welcome to another episode of Going Homesteading. It's a beautiful day outside. We have more trees, fruit trees for our orchards coming in, and God in His grace, though we're just a few days away from the official beginning of spring, gave us some more snow today. So I'm a happy camper about that. I thought it would be a good and fitting and appropriate thing for us to talk about today, to make a distinction, to explain what is behind what is an increasingly active prepper movement and what homesteading is about. And I thought it would be fruitful because, frankly, there is some overlap between these two perspectives. And so it could be easy for people to confuse the two of them, and I think it's helpful to look at the differences as well. But that said, I'm not doing this particular episode because I want to speak ill about preppers or certainly about homesteaders. That's not my intention at all. I just want us to understand that there is a different mindset. Now, over the last few days, I've heard a number of reports, principally coming out of Texas, that there have been calls by the government for people to prepare themselves for the eclipse that is due April 8th. And I am absolutely befuddled by that. I've lived through many eclipses in my day. Still have eyes that see, thankfully. But I've lived through many of these, and I've never heard of anyone talking about being prepared. Well, if you remember, at the beginning of this program, we talked about this being a significant year, 2024. We have a vital election, which we have. This is not the first time, and it won't be the last time, but we have a vital election. We have all sorts of various ways in which we as a country are turning our backs on God. Judgment may be coming. There's just all these sort of scary things coming down the pike. These predictions of what are called black swan events, sort of major significant disruptive events like the COVID pandemic was an example of a black swan event. And these can be manipulated, these can be created. Who knows? Well, I'm starting to sound like a prepper because preppers are those who are persuaded, significantly persuaded, that radical shifts, changes, disruptions, hardships are right around the corner. And their goal is to put themselves in a place, and their loved ones in a place where they can ride out or survive such an event. Now, at some level, I have some experience with the prepper mindset, and I experienced it in an interesting place. Some of you are old enough to remember not only the turn of the century, but all the drama and the trauma that went along with that, because there was at that time, coming up to the change of the century, this fear of what was called the millennium bug, Y2K. The idea was that because so many things were programmed at a time when memory for programming was so sparse that only 2 years, 2 spaces for the year were in these programs. And so moving from 99 to 00 rather than 1999 to 2000 was going to create sort of confusion within these programs that might cause them all to shut down, which is going to just basically muck up our infrastructure, and food would be scarce, and there'd be riots in the streets, and who knows what all would happen. Well, I had an interest in that. I had a level of concern about it. I felt like many of the folks who poo-pooed the idea, had a perspective of, well, either they will never let that happen, an unhealthy trust on princes and horses to sort of get us through, and others had a distorted view of the sovereignty of God. He would never let this happen, as if God owes the United States safety and security forever. So I thought, well, yeah, this could happen. Not that I'm a computer expert by any stretch. This could happen. What am I going to do about that? Well, I thought it would be prudent to make preparations that would not ruin me if nothing terrible happened. I didn't invest a pile of money. I didn't buy rooms full of food that I wouldn't be able to stomach eating after the turn of the century if everything went smoothly. I got a wood-burning stove put in my basement. I got a gas stove put in my basement. I stockpiled some level of canned spaghetti sauce and pasta and peanut butter and beans and things like that, but all of which eventually got eaten. In fact, I had a 5-gallon bucket full of banana chips that somehow got eaten before the turn of the century. So I'm not talking about me. I'm talking in terms of more hardcore preparation. I'm talking about another R.C. Sprl, the more well-known R.C. Sprl. I actually introduced him to the concept of the millennium bug, and he, like he is wont to do, or was wont to do, he got all in. He had this capacity, my dad, when he got interested in something, he went all in, and that was the case with Y2K. He had a weekend getaway home. He got interested in guns for self-defense. He got interested in precious metals. And he put up on this weekend home a beautiful spot. Not that there are very many beautiful spots in Florida, but it looked like it was in the woods in North Carolina. It was quite beautiful. But nevertheless, despite the beauty, woodsy place where he had this wonderful house, he put right smack dab in the middle of the front yard this big pole that was this big around and probably 15 feet high, that then had an array of solar panels. The square solar panels was probably 20 by 10 feet, and it would move on this pole following the sun. And I just had this image of my father, if Y2K happened, just sitting in the air conditioning, being perfectly comfortable and perfectly at peace. He didn't take an underground prep kind of place, but he was more into it than I am. Well, that's the mindset of the prepper. I want to be prepared for whatever will come, or almost anything that could come. And again, I have no quarrel with that whatsoever. The mindset of the homesteader, on the other hand, is not so much, I want to be prepared for the end of the world or something like that, but I want to increase in my sense of self-sufficiency. And you can see there that kind of overlap. I want to be in a place where I'm not bound to and stuck with the broader infrastructure out there. What am I going to do if the grocery stores have nothing but empty shelves? Well, I've got shelves full of delicious and wonderful food that we grew right here on the farm, and that my wife cooked and canned, and it's ready to eat, and we're set. And we've got lots and lots there, not because, again, we're afraid, but because this is how we want to, as we've talked about in the past, we want to see the connection between our labor and the food that we're eating. We want to enjoy the blessings of getting our own hands dirty in bringing food to our table. We want to be out in the sun, out in the vitamin D, while we're getting our food gathered and growing and prepared and all of that. So it's not the same mindset at all. You could look at it like, almost like, again, I don't want to overstate the distinction, but you could look at it almost as if the prepper has a more negative, pessimistic view of the future, where the homesteader is trying to build a better future. The prepper is trying to survive this bad future that they are foreseeing, and the homesteader is trying to, again, build something new, something better. Now, part of that does include preparation and thinking through hard times. And some of the things that we've talked about on our podcast are some of the scary things that we see potentially coming down the pike. I'm not saying that preppers are wrong for being worried. What I am saying is my motives and my goals, I think, need to be, I want them to be more optimistic, more about the good life. See, when we walk through this door, we don't come in saying, oh, thank goodness we're finally safe. Or we don't come in thinking, when are they going to find us? And what are we going to do when they do? No, we're coming into a beautiful place, a place that we love, a place that my precious wife, who's just got enormous gifts in this way, has beautified and made a place, again, of welcoming, a place of peace. Remember when we've talked about the name for our program, Going Homesteading, there's lots of plays on words like going steady and like going home and homestead. But part of that is we want to be steady in our lives. We want to not go up and down based on what's going on the news today. We want to be at peace. And we're going to talk about that as well more. We're going to unpack that in future episodes. But for now, we're cultivating a life. And in sharing this, in creating this YouTube channel, we're not trying to get everybody scared. We're not being Chicken Little. What we're trying to do, again, is encourage people to reap the blessings. You know, today, as we're recording, this day, I posted at rcsproljr.com one of my regular blog pieces. I put up a blog piece Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And on Mondays, typically, I do what's called Ask RC, in which I try to answer a question, either a question I think my readers might be asking or a question that my readers have sent in. Well, today I published one called What's with All the Homesteading Stuff? For people who are less familiar with what we're doing here and more familiar with what I've been doing at rcsproljr.com. And in answering that question, I was, again, laying out that vision, that optimistic, hopeful, hey, we're being blessed by this, not we're trying to forestall curse, but we're being blessed by this. In my answer, I encourage you to take a look at that. What's with all the homesteading stuff? It's posted on today, which is Monday, the 18th of March. So we will be better prepared than people who are living without margins, people who are living paycheck to paycheck, people who are living without any backups, any stored things, anything they can do themselves, any skills that don't depend on that infrastructure. We are in a better place the more we learn. While we were, or over the weekend, we had a little bit of I don't know if it was a storm, if it was wind, but we had a tree come down. And the bad news is it ran into the fence around our garden, not badly, and I think it's fixable. But for me, the good news was, more firewood. This is exciting. This is good. I'm going to be able to get out there and do one of the jobs that I love doing. I'm going to have to do a little chainsaw work, which I'm not so crazy about, but it leads to splitting wood, which I love. So we're, again, cultivating skills and gifts and abilities so that we're less dependent upon the skills and abilities of others. Now, there is one thing that we remain dependent upon. We remain dependent upon you to help grow this particular channel. If you are enjoying what you're hearing, enjoying what you're learning, we can present this not as we're experts and we're trying to tell you what you have to do. but we are trying to create a community that's going on this journey together. And so we would love to see this grow and reach more people. Ways we can do that, very simple. Hit the like button on this particular episode. Whatever ones you've watched, hit the like button. Subscribe so that whenever new episodes come out, you'll know it, you'll be able to watch, and you'll be able to click the like button. And there's also the importance of sharing. Share it on your social media places. Let people know, hey, this is an interesting new program I've been watching on YouTube. Share it there. Just talk with your friends about it. And get more than anything, we want to hear from you. We want to have conversation. You can respond right here. We have some people that do respond in the comment section. That's a great place to do it. So please let us hear from you. Let us know what you think. If maybe you're a prepper and you think I've been off base in my description of how that works, I would love to be corrected. Maybe you think I got it right, but think prepper is better than homesteading. Let me hear from you. I'd love to hear from you. Just keep tuned in and keep communicating with us, and come back next time. Thank you so much for being with us on our program.